Alright guys, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to bring you a update video of my review of the Howa MDT LSS XL Chassis, which is this here. And I had quite a few hits, a lot of people interested in the overall review of this chassis with this particular gun, the Howa 1500 Action. And so I'm going to bring you a video today. I'm going to show you some things, some good and bad, that I like about this stock. Overall, I'm very pleased with it. I'm very happy with it. For the price, it's a pretty good stock. My biggest concerns with this stock, I'm going to point out here in just a minute. The first is the flex. You can see that I've got a Harris bipod. I've got these Hawk Hill feet. A lot of people ask about those. They're kind of a pointed foot. And the issue that I see with this setup, let me get my camera to focus here, is that I get a little bit of flex. When you try to preload this bipod with this long forend, there isn't a lot of material here. You get some flex in it, and as soon as you start to preload this bipod, you get flex, which creates stress on the action, and unfortunately you start to get some pretty inconsistent shooting with this system. So in order to shoot this properly, for those of you who are looking at this setup, it's fine. If you're big into preloading your bipods, you're either going to have to learn to not preload your bipod or to get a different chassis. And so ultimately, you know, I don't typically shoot a lot preloading my bipod anyway, and so it's not an issue for me. I shoot a lot with a tripod and also with this bipod, but I don't preload it, so I don't really see any issues, and I don't have any issues with that. The next issue, let's get right to it, is magazines. You can see that I've got three mags here. The one on the far right, this one here, is the Magpul, or I'm sorry, this is the MDT magazine that comes with the chassis. And I purchased two of them. And the one in here in the middle, and I'll bring this up so you can get a close look at it. It's a 308 magazine that comes with the MDT chassis. And obviously this is a 6.5 Creedmoor that I'm loading in this particular gun. This is the Magpul PMag 5 that I picked up off of Midway USA. And they're pretty nice mags. And then the last one here, the shortest one, is an Accuracy International AICS Mag. Metal, obviously. And so the issue that I've got with this particular chassis in the Howa 1500 with the 6.5 Creedmoor, now you're not going to have this issue probably with other cartridges, but if you're looking at building this similar type of a gun with a 6.5 Creedmoor in this MDT chassis, you're going to run into this problem, and that's this. The bullets are too long for the magazine. Now, I will tell you that factory ammunition will fit in this magazine. These are hand loads, obviously, and you can see that ain't gonna fit. There's just not enough room in this magazine for these rounds. These bullets, this is the Hornady 140 ELDM match bullet from Hornady, and I'm hand loading these 10,000ths off the lands, and that's where this rifle likes them. It shoots unbelievable. It shoots a quarter MOA. In fact, today I shot a 2-inch group at 500 yards with this gun. And I shot a 1/2-inch group at 200 yards with this gun. That was earlier this morning, using these exact rounds. The problem is, obviously, is they're too long for this magazine. So I switched over and I bought the PMag, hoping that it would help also, knowing that it had an internal length that was a little bit longer. But unfortunately, as you can see, I have the same problem. Just barely makes contact with the tip. And so what's the next best thing? The next solution is going with the AICS Mag. MDT will tell you that they don't fit in this with the Howa Action, and they're correct. They don't, unless you do some modifications, and that's what we're going to do today. So you can see this one. Let's focus in on it, hopefully. And I'll show you that these do fit. Barely. Turn it just a little bit. They do fit. And I could load these, I could push these in a couple more thou and get some extra clearance, but they fit. They're not sticking in any way. I can tilt it, slide the bullet back in here a little bit. I can tilt it forward, I can tilt it back, and they still fit in there. And so ultimately that's what we're going to have to do. The issue is that with the action in, and I'm going to slide this bullet out, hopefully I can show you, I don't have the action bolted down right now. You see it's loose in there. But with the action bolted down, the magazine fits, but it won't seat, it won't lock in there. So I'm going to take a break real quick. I'm going to shut the camera off. I'll turn it right back on, and we're going to show you the underneath side and why it doesn't fit. All right, welcome back. And as you can see, I've got the action upside down here, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to rotate a little bit, why the magazine won't sit. And let me grab a pencil here so I can point out what I'm talking about. Right here, inside here, you'll see this little shelf right here. And that little shelf is what makes contact with the front of the magazine. Let me get the magazine here. So that little shelf in there makes contact with this surface right here, these little feed lips. Now I think, and I don't know for certain, I think a guy could probably file these feed lips down just a little bit, the tips there, but I don't know if that would change the angle, how that would change your feeding. I am aware, however, that if we file down that little tab right there that you can see, and again I'll point it out with the pencil right here, this little tab, this little edge, I know that we can file that down and just a couple of thou to get that magazine to seat properly, and I'll show you that here in just a second. Okay, I'm back here. I've got the action turned back upside right, and I'm going to seat the magazine in here so I can show you what I'm talking about. So once the magazine is in, you can hear positive click, and you can't pull it out. It is completely seated as tight as it can get there. Obviously it does move up and down a little bit, but once the action's in there, that won't happen. So you pull it down, and you'll be able to see that those lips stick up just a little bit, not very much, right in here. And so I think a guy could probably file this down just a little bit to get those to seat properly. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm just actually going to file down this edge right here just a little bit on the action itself, so that this can sit up in there just a little bit tighter. And over here is the action. And you can see I've taken and I've penciled on the action itself that little extrusion that I showed you earlier. This little piece right here. So I'm going to take a file, and I'm going to file down this edge just ever so slightly, just enough so that that magazine will seat tightly and firmly in there. And I know that you can do this and make this adjustment, and it'll work just fine. So there you go, guys. I will make a video showing you once I get this job completed. I'm going to file that down. Once I get it completed, I'll make a video showing you everything put back together and everything working. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back. All right, we're back, and I wanted to show you guys what I've done here to the action. You can see that, hopefully my camera will focus, I filed down just the edge of the action here. I'm going to grab my pencil to show you. Filed down this edge, and you can see I filed into the corners a little bit. I found that that's kind of where I had to do the most work. And ultimately what I plan on doing is I'll probably Cerakote this, and I'll polish that up and get it nice and finished. But I wanted to show you the results of actually filing it down, so you can look at a couple of different angles here about how much material I removed. Just literally just a lip of that edge there. And these are the tools that I used. This is just a file set that I picked up from, I think, Harbor Freight a couple years ago, actually. And I used the larger metal file, and then this smaller, this has got kind of a half moon shape to it. And that's what I used on the corners in here to kind of round out these corners just a little bit, so that again, I'm going to clean it up a little bit, but just wanted to show you kind of what it looks like. So let's get this installed back into the chassis here, and I'll show you how the mags sit. Alright guys, we're back, and let's check this out. Let's see how it works. We've got the action mounted back up in the chassis, and we've got our Accuracy International mag ready to go. Let's see how this works out here. Oh, look at that. Nice, firm fit. There's no movement in there. Let's see how the magazine, you got to pull it out if it's loaded, but it does come out. Let's try to cycle a couple of rounds in here. See how that works. Alright, bear with me, I'm doing this left-handed. There's one, two, 3. All right, let's see. Does the mag fall out on an empty one? Oh, look at that. Beautiful. So there you go, guys. We've got the Accuracy International mags working with the MDT LSS XL chassis. A little modification to the gun. You know, we used a couple of files here to file those down. Any files would work. Pick those up at the local hardware store, and there you go. These rounds are loaded to, I think, overall length is 2.85, perhaps. And so I'm running those 10 thousandths off the lands, and they shoot phenomenally well. Problem was they just didn't fit in my mags, and now they'll fit in the mags. So there you go, guys. If you have any questions, post them in the comments, and enjoy. Till next time.